The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
The first story took place a number of years ago in Yerushalayim. There was a young man, we'll call him Mark. Mark Winter, his name was changed. This story you could find in Visions of Greatness from Rabbi Weiss on volume 8, page 189. He says this story with Mark Winter. His name was changed. Mark was about tshuva. And someone told him that, Mark, the perfect place for you, if you ever want to make aliyah, would be Torah Or in Yerushalayim and Kiryat Matistorf. You'll have Rav Chaim Shaiberg, one of the Gedolei Ador, American-born and English-speaking Gadol, and he understands the American psyche very well. He'd be perfect for you to get close to. So Mark and his wife, after he was Choser B'Tshuva, decided to make aliyah. So Mark, being a good Talmid, he decided he was going to accept Rav Sheinberg as his Rav. Now, what was very interesting about this, I believe it intimates from this book, is that Mark was not that much younger than Rav Sheinberg. It seems like he was an elderly gentleman already. That's what it sounds like. Because you understand, it seems like there was a struggle for him to accept what Rav Sheinberg told him. You'll see why in a second. He came to Rav Sheinberg and told him, I'd like to join the Kollel and retire. Rav Sheinberg said, oh, that's wonderful. We'd love to have you. What's your background? He tells him his background. Okay, you seem like a serious person. We're interested in having you as well. Mark, tell me, what did you do before you were Choser B'Tshuva? So Mark told him he was in a certain industry. I'm not exactly sure what it was. And this industry was quite lucrative. And in order for him to be Choser B'Tshuva, he basically had to sell off his company and all his assets to be able to make aliyah. And he was planning on living a very meager existence in Eretz Yisrael, and he was just going to basically set off as the sun would set and go off into Olam Haba in Yerushalayim in Eretz Yisrael. So the story goes is that he sold everything off, and he basically had around $60,000 to $70,000 in savings. This is not including the purchase price of the apartment and him to be able to make aliyah. But he had around $60,000 to $70,000 in savings. He comes to Rav Sheinberg and he tells him this whole story. Rav Sheinberg asked him, so what is it that you did? He told him what he did. He told him his whole story. Rav Sheinberg's thing. He says, tell me, Mark, in all those years that you were employed, and it seems like it was quite a lucrative business, did you ever give ma'aser? Looks at Rav Sheinberg. Ma'aser? I wasn't religious. I didn't know anything. I didn't know about Shabbat, Yom Tov, Hagim. I knew nothing. Ma'aser? It's tzedakah? He said, yeah. Did you give any tzedakah? Listen, Rabbi, I wasn't thinking about tzedakah at that time. And he said, okay, so make a cheshbon. How much do you think you owe? So he says, okay, Rabbi, give me a few days. I'll come back. Came back with a cheshbon, and it was around $50,000 of pure profit of maaser that he failed to give over the course of all those years. So Rav Sheinberg looks at him and goes, Mark, you know what you need to do. And he's like, Shiva, excuse me, but I don't know if the Shiva is aware. I sold everything. I bought an apartment. Me and my wife are not young people. We don't plan on living luxuriously. We have $60,000 to $70,000 that we have. $50,000. That's almost everything that we have. That's our entire nest egg that we have. What are we going to do? Rav Sheinberg said, you have to give ma'aser. You must do that. So he accepted this lesson, that when a gadol tells you to do something, even though it seems very difficult, you understand, Shmuel B'doro, this is what my gadol tells me, and I'm going to accept it wholeheartedly. So what did Mark do? Mark realized if he took off all $50,000 in one shot, there's no way. I mean, the shock for him and his wife to live so frugally would be so great. He knew that wouldn't be able to do anything for them. It would actually be quite harmful. So he decided he was going to do it piecemeal. So first he took off $28,000 and immediately gave it away. He said, okay, this is good. 28, got another 22 to go. Then something came up, and make a long story short, a nes happened. He was able to get 10,000 here and there. Something came up with this and that. So he was able to give another 10,000. So he's 38,000. So, and he says to himself, I got to give $12,000 more from what Rav Sheinberg asked me. He's going back and forth. Should he do it? Should he not? And he says, you know what? It's right before the Shana, like during these weeks. So you know what's right for Hashem? What greater zechut I could have than I be like a Yitzchak Avinu? That I stretch out my neck and say, take me for Karban Me'olah. I'm willing to be self-sacrificing for you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And with that, he wrote out a check for $12,000 to other Maaseh and other organizations that were around the Eretz Yisrael. He gave a total of $50,000 within the span of a few weeks, so that way you could come to the Shana with an unbelievable gift to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Listening to Dat Torah. Listen to this story. After he wrote his check, he's going through his mail, and suddenly he sees an envelope. In this envelope, it's from a cousin that he was kind of close with, not really that religious, a cousin that he always had a good relationship with. And cousin wrote to him every now and then, and he wrote on the back, wishing you the best in the Holy Land. So he opens up the letter, and he's very surprised. There he reads his cousin writing to him, saying how impressed and how proud he is of him making the sacrifice to come to the Holy Land. He knows it's not easy. He's spoken to many people about that before, especially at such advanced age. So the cousin said, I would like to be a part of your mitzvah, and I would like for you to please accept this gift in honor of Shana. And what was it for? $12,000. And not only was it $12,000, he got another gift from some other relative for another $10,000. So he's now 22 up. Okay? He gave 50 and he's 22 up within the span of a few days. It's like literally making back his money. And then, a day before Rosh Hashanah, at Rosh Hashanah, he gets a phone call from a friend of his. It was an old friend of his that worked in the company, whatever that company was. And it seems like, since he was the brains behind the whole operation, a company in Los Angeles found out about him and found out that he was now living in Israel. And they got in touch with his friend and told him, tell your friend that we want to use his ingenious invention, whatever it might be, for their company, and they'll pay him a royalty. Or if he wants, he can get the money up front. So his friend told him, listen, he's like, Mark, I don't know about you, but I would take whatever they're giving up front, because you never know, companies come, they go, just take the money up front. So this friend was telling him about this company, he should reach out to them. He called the company up, and they told him, okay, sir, we would like to buy your idea. How much are you willing to sell for it? He says, listen, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. What's the price of it? He says, well, we're actually a multi-billion-dollar company, and we really like the idea that you have. So we're going to give you $135,000. $135,000. Wow, he was not expecting that. All because he extended himself just a little bit. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, take it right back. Not only take it right back, kiflei kiflaim. I'm going to give you much more. I'm going to give you triple what you gave. You give me 50, I'm going to give you 150 plus. I'm going to give you much more than that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always testing us because He wants to give us. Think about Mashal. Imagine you are an adult and you see a little child, and you go over to the little child and give the little child a gift. And you see that little child go over to other little kids and start sharing with them. What would you do with that little kid? You'd give them more. This is an amazing child. That's a gizbar. That's someone a trustee that I feel comfortable giving benevolence to because they're a benevolent person. You want to have benevolence in your life? Give benevolently.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org